Hey folks, Landon here. It's been quite a long time since I've done a live video, and I wanted to give some thoughts and reflections on last night's elections and some things that I'm seeing as almost trendy, posted on social media and all of that. I start to see, well, first of all, let me go back and say that we may be excited or we may be upset and disappointed, whatever the case may be when it comes to the outcome of yesterday's elections. If you're like me, you spent some time watching the different news channels and all of that, and you're tallying up, and for me, I just pretty much watch it for historical purposes, like, hey, we're watching history in the making. Obviously, we saw history in the making when we saw so many ladies being elected and a lot of minorities and stuff, and that's a great thing. The things that I wanted to reflect on today have more to do with our reactions in that, and whenever we saw, like, Republicans and Democrats, both of them kind of left disappointed. And I have always thought that when it comes to building a healthy system, compromise kind of means we're all kind of disappointed in some way, and we're all kind of giving up some ground to be able to make things work. Now, I don't see that here. What I see is extreme division. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. And it's nothing new. You already knew this is going on. But I have actually seen posted on social media people talking like, hey, you know what? If you voted this way, you can unfriend me, or I don't want to associate you with you if you think like this or anything like that. And I just think that any system that we're a part of that causes us to build walls, even more walls, is one that is very unhealthy. And we are not called or made to keep building walls in front of each other. And in fact, this political process is one that just causes us to do that more and more and more and more. So maybe yesterday you were watching TV, maybe watching YouTube or Facebook Live, and watching the tallies come up and be tallied, and you wanted a certain person to win, or you wanted a certain side to win more seats than the other. And now maybe you're either disappointed or excited. So that's where you're at now. And you have strong, passionate views about these things that you want to express, and you want to make sure people know, and you want everyone to get on board with you. Or maybe you don't even care if people get on board with you. You just want to make sure that the truth is told. But 2 weeks from now, you're going to have a good friend go into the hospital that's sick. You're going to experience something very devastating. Your daughter or son is going to break their arm and need to go and get help in the hospital. You're going to go through something that life is all about, that is what life is. You're going to go through a hiccup or an obstacle. And I'm not speaking this into existence for you, but that is just what life is. It's a period, it's a bunch of obstacles, and it's a journey, and we learn and we grow through it. So odds are you're going to have a loved one that gets really ill, and God forbid, maybe even pass away. And you're going to need these people around you, no matter what they believe or who they voted for support and encouragement and all of these kind of things. But hey, 2 weeks ago, you completely cussed them out on Facebook because they added a libertarian candidate on their ticket, or a Democrat or Republican. I just think that we tend to get so involved impulsively in our emotions when it comes to this that we begin to make the voting booth our sacrificial altar, and it becomes everything to us. We think, okay, there's disparity in the world around us, there's racism, there's things that are going on that absolutely needs to be eradicated or to begin. And we think for some reason that voting in yet another politician is going to fix all of that. Okay, whenever they get in, they're going to fix it. And they might be great people. They might be wonderful, wonderful people of great integrity. And you may ask me, and this is a common answer I give, you're like, well, what do you think about this particular candidate? And I'll just say, I don't know, I've never met them. Sometimes we make these value judgments based on what we think these people are about, and maybe they don't vote for or stand for the kind of things that we stand for, but automatically we start to label people based on what we think of them. So that person forever is this kind of person. They're a liar, they're a cheat, if they've caused us any sort of discomfort or pain, then we label them that way. Now, anyway, so a healthy life includes one in which we build these systems of relationships in which whatever kind of differences we have, we still have the ability to support and encourage one another. And we are made in our very DNA to be social beings, and that means that there are times in which there will be conflict, there will be strife, there will be trials, there will be obstacles that you have to overcome with each other, and the proper adult thing to do is to carry on and figure it out. But right now, we have created such a divide in our country that it seems like we can't get past these things that are just making us trip up on a regular basis. We're better than that. And whether you believe this or that about immigration or abortion or money or whatever the case may be, we can still have the ability to look to the person next to us and love them and serve them. And I know that I've kind of been really harping on that on my statuses, but I truly believe that is the case, that once someone is going through something, you can put their arm around them, you can listen to them, and in that moment when someone is going through something so deep, it doesn't matter who they voted for, or it doesn't matter how, who they protest or what they protest. The point is, we can be a support system to people no matter what. And you might say, well, if they vote for them, I can't trust their integrity. Then don't trust their integrity, but still love them. We for some reason we connect to these things, or even we separate these things in a way that we think that if they don't think like us, if they don't talk like us, we have to keep people at arm's length, and there's just no way we can possibly be associated with them. We're putting ourselves on a pedestal. Oh, I am way too good for these people. I'm a follower of Jesus, and that is just not what he was about. He had nothing to do with people who thought they were better than everyone else. And maybe you're really passionate about this particular thing that was your thing that you voted on behalf of. But that doesn't mean that there aren't humans around us who walk around just kind of soaking in our pain or in their pain on a regular basis. That they just need someone to listen, someone to hear them, someone to put their arm around them. And at that moment in time, it really doesn't even matter what they voted for, but they just want to be set free. So I want to encourage us, whether we're believers or not, to be those kind of people that can reach our hand out and quit being selfish. I mean, if you're a Christian today, I'm using this word for you. If you're being selfish like this, you need to repent. No bones about it. Who cares who they voted for? Who cares what their candidate is? Who cares what platform that they support? We are called to be servants to the world. That's it. And we're called through our actions to display the love of Christ, his gospel, in our very lives. So you need to repent, and I'm calling you to that now. That doesn't mean you're a bad person, but it means you need to be a changed person. But it is, so there are people out there all around us, and if you're not a believer, you are absolutely valuable in my sight, in God's sight. And it doesn't matter what things that you went to the voting booth for. If you're hurting, I want to be there for you. And I think that all Christians really need to be thinking that way. You can call me judgmental if you want to, if you're a Christian today, but I don't really care. But anyway, so moving on, we have to get past the fact that, we're clenching our fists and shaking them and all of that. And we just need to get to a point where we're adults about it. And we just really start to look at each other with compassion. If I was in the battlefield with you in a foxhole, your political orientation wouldn't matter to me. And each day, going through stuff that we go through, we're in that battlefield together. I might not be going through the same thing that you are, and you're not going through the same thing I am, but, I think I've belabored the point. I can be there for you, you can be there for me. And in order for this country to come together and unite, that's what's going to have to happen. We're not going to agree on everything, and that's okay. But we've got to this point where we are so entitled to our opinion, which everyone's entitled to their opinion, but we think that we need to make sure that everyone else has that opinion as well. Now, we recognize these things that are unjust, and we all try to tackle them together. Obviously, we fight against the things that are unjust, but we still look at people with compassion, even if they're adamantly opposed and undignified, and maybe they're part of the injustice that we're seeing. But what if their lives were to change and their opinions were to change, not because we are trying to absolutely lambaste them, but because they see examples in us in which we love them, even though we disagree. I just wonder what would happen if we start thinking that way. We have the ability to do that. We have all the resources, all the tools, but sometimes we just don't want to. We want to be upset. We want to be angry. We want to clench our fists and punch someone in the nose and all of that kind of thing. And that feels great for a moment, and our misery becomes our companion sometimes. But we can be better than that. We can build this sustainable, healthy system within our hearts and our relationships that says, I value you no matter who you are, no matter where you've been, no matter what you've done. That's Jesus stuff right there. And no matter what kind of example you're seeing other Christians being, that's what Jesus was about. That he came to change people through his example, through his love, and all of that. He says, come and follow me. And when he said, come and follow me to these people that we see in the Gospels, these people sometimes were caught up in their own stuff. And Jesus didn't say, hey, you got to fix your stuff before you come follow me. He said, just drop what you're doing, let's go. So that's what he was about. That's what I desire to be about. I am so imperfect when it comes to that stuff. But that's what I pray for the world around us. And that is the only way we can unify. We're not going to get anything done politically, legislatively, all those kind of things, if we're off in our own little corners pouting and throwing stuff at each other. So anyway, that's my thought for today, my thoughts and reflections. Comment, thumbs up, whatever, share. Feel free to share. Don't have to ask me about that. Have a great day.